Hi everyone, this is the Math 30-1 Trig 2 review. This is question 13b. Now, we're required in this question to come up with two trig functions to describe this graph. One of them is going to be a sine function, one of them is going to be a cosine function. To do that, though, we need to identify the different variables, the a, b, c, d, are the parameters that show up inside those functions. Now, to get that, what we did first of all, and this was from the previous question, we identified the maximum value of the graph to be 3, and we identified the minimum value of the graph to be -1. That allows us to do a quick calculation, max minus min divided by 2, that's to get a. That gives us an a value of 2. D, the value of d, which is the middle, okay, the vertical middle of that graph, is going to be the max value plus the min divided by 2. It's an average. So 3 plus -1 divided by 2, 1. And then we were able to determine, okay, that the period of this graph was 4 pi over 6 or 2 pi over 3 when you simplified it. And we really just did that by counting it out. Okay, we determined that each block along this grid here goes up by pi over 6, and then our period was 4 of those. And then when we plugged that into our formula for b, we had 2 pi divided by the period, and we got 3. Now let's take a look at our functions here. We're looking to restrict the a value so that it's negative. Okay, well, a negative sine graph, now here, this is what I drew when we were looking at the positive sine graph. A negative sine graph will start at the center and go down, up to the top, and then back down again. So when I look right around the origin, right close to the y-axis here, okay, I know that it's going to start along this median line, and the closest point that starts and goes down, that's this one right here. This would be the starting point of a negative sine, and that is 1 pi over 6 block to the right. So now, I'm going to write my function here. I know my amplitude's supposed to be negative, so it'll be -2 sine of 3 x minus, because it's going to be pi over 6 to the right, so minus pi over 6, and then plus 1. Whoops, sorry, you can't see that. Plus 1. Now, to get the cosine function, think of a negative cosine. Well, a negative cosine function starts down below. Okay, it starts at the minimum. Now, there's some symmetry here. That could either be this one or this one. And now, in this case here, this is 2 blocks. That's 2 pi over 6s. Okay, and 2 pi over 6s would be pi over 3. So, but I don't know which one is implied here. I don't know which one it went to, so I'm going to do this, -2 cosine of 3. In this case, it could be plus or minus, and either one of those would be acceptable, pi over 3 units, because it was 2 pi over 6s, there's where my pi over 3 is, plus 1. Okay, and there's the two functions that have a negative value up front, a negative leading coefficient. Those are the ones we're looking for.